gets ready to go in this one, I've got chills. It's always the same with The Rock. Someone steps up and the great one lays them down.
It's been a while since I've entered the ring for some high-flying, death-defying, slobber-knocking action. So long, in fact, that the WWE was still sharing the name of a certain wildlife preservation charity at the time. It was the height of the Attitude Era, and many weekends were spent with WWF Warzone and WCW vs NWO on the N64, causing absolute mayhem with 4 controllers, a few mates, and plenty of chairs. I haven't been able to keep up with the storylines in WWE for the past 2 decades, but as long as Triple H is still rebelling against the man with D-Generation X, JR is still in the commentator's box, and The Rock is still the most electrifying superstar in the WWE and didn't go off pursuing a different career, I'll be fine. So for the dozens watching this video, and for my subscribers in attendance, let's get ready to review! Now before we dive in, I do want to take a moment to acknowledge the passing of Terry Bollea, better known to millions as Hulk Hogan. Like a lot of fans, I grew up watching him and he was certainly larger than life, and for better or for worse, a defining part of WWE's rise to global popularity. No matter where you stand on the controversies that followed him in his later years, there's no denying his role in shaping the professional wrestling world and bringing it to the mainstream. From WrestleMania to Saturday morning cartoons, his Hulkamania legacy is woven into the very fabric of WWE history. Rest in peace, Hulkster. Now, the WWE 2K series needs no introduction. Since rebooting in 2014, it's become a mainstay for wrestling fans looking to simulate the chaos, the spectacle, and the drama of the WWE from their living rooms. Every new entry brings fresh new rosters, refined mechanics, and a chance to rewrite history with your favourite superstars. With WWE 2025, it's marking a milestone this year, appearing on Nintendo systems for the first time since the disastrous launch of 2K18, which effectively ended the franchise on the Switch. WWE 2K25 has a main story mode that involves the WWE having a civil war, so to speak, between opposing shows. It's really cheesy, but in such a good way, as it captures the spirit of the WWE and allows multiple paths on how to approach things or how to shape your character. You can level them up after each match, getting stronger and becoming the rising superstar of the WWE. Outside of the main story mode, there is a huge amount of gameplay here that has become the series staple, as well as a new edition of the island. But more on that later. Gameplay sees you fight in matches against the best of them, carefully managing stamina, special move gauges, and reversals. Now, when I first entered the ring, I was getting absolutely destroyed, but after learning the ropes, pun intended, I found that the matches had a certain back and forth to them, allowing you to turn the tide of battle with a well-timed reversal and some clever tactics to allow some breathing space. It's one of those easy to play but difficult to master type of games, where the patient player is rewarded and even losses teach valuable lessons. What I really loved about the gameplay is the element of strategy and the point scoring to think of during the match. There's this grading system that goes up to 5 stars, and you are awarded points towards that rating by varying your moves, taunting your opponents, and just generally putting on a show. And I found myself stretching a match out for the purpose of this scoring, aiming to please the adoring digital crowd. Your efforts aren't in vain in doing so, as the better the rating, the more currency you get to go towards unlocking other superstars from the roster. The game features a massive roster of past and present WWE superstars, but unfortunately, it also comes with the world's worst UI when it comes to selecting them. Because instead of using character portrait collages similar to what we see in fighting games, you're given an alphabetical list showing only a handful of names at a time, and it makes selecting your wrestlers somewhat frustrating, especially when you have to select 8 of them. Although, the freeform approach to matches and exhibition mode allows for some memorable matchups. In one instance, I put the best of the Attitude Era wrestlers up against the popular newer talent in a bit of a dream scenario mashup. Now, while I'm not as big a fan of wrestling as I used to be, I still had a blast playing, and I was audibly cheering when Stone Cold managed to drop a stunner at the same time that I locked in a rock bottom to send my opponents crashing to the match. The game is full of moments like these, and I felt that's what made it so enjoyable, because much like the WWE show itself, it's just a real spectacle. There's also a myriad of game modes to further add to the freeform customization, and it lets you live out your wildest wrestling dreams. You can be a manager in the MyGM game mode, create your own wrestlers, storylines, and show in the My Universe mode, or live out your dream by joining the WWE in the main story called My Rise. There's also a deck building game mode called My Faction, which, along with the island, seems to be designed more as a pay-to-win model. I particularly enjoyed the MyGM mode, as it allowed me to manage a roster of superstars and organise shows, matches, and promos with the objective of beating other managers to be the most entertaining and most profitable show in the WWE. You can quickly simulate the matches to speed through events, or take control of the wrestlers to help sway things in your favour. There's plenty of stats and abilities to also keep in mind, like pitting opposing stars against each other for rivalry and bonus entertainment factors, as well as scheduling other stars to come in and sabotage the match. It's all done very well and works really well, and can be played both solo or with friends. My biggest issue with WWE 2K25 though, is just how perverse the monetization is in other modes. If a game has a lot of content, but some of that is simply designed to wrestle more money out of you, does that mean it's good content? The Island seems to be a prime example of this, as it's the ultimate tourist trap, solely implemented to get you to spend more of your real-world money to create your ultimate wrestler. I calculated that it would have cost over $120 Australian to max out your wrestler, and it would appear that the Island is more a blatant pay-to-win gameplay mode, and makes it almost superfluous to any gamer on a budget. You can earn levels and currency without paying a cent, but as you can imagine, it's slow-paced and tedious. Then there's also the My Faction mode, which seemed really interesting at first because you earn packs and create your own team. Now, it's clearly designed to benefit players who have some disposable income, because I also calculated that this would cost $220 Australian to purchase 20 packs, which might net you some decent superstars, but it still doesn't even guarantee victory. Now, I spoke about this at length with a friend last night who told me that this sort of practice has become the norm in sporting titles. But still, I can't help but feel that if I'm spending $110 on a title, that it should probably be much easier to earn through play, because ultimately, these modes isolate players already feeling the sting of paying a premium for the game itself. Both of these modes reach a point where it becomes a case of put up or shut up, and I know that I won't be investing my time or money in either of these modes after hitting a progression wall. That said, there's still plenty of game on offer in the other modes that doesn't chokeslam your wallet. WWE 2K25 is both technically and visually impressive. The superstars have incredible detail, and even gradually work up a sweat during matches. Animations and moves look spectacular, and while crowds have never been a strong point, WWE 2K25 spectators manage to actually look really good, especially during the intros. There's a lot of meticulous detail here, expertly capturing the larger-than-life characters that appear on screen, and it's all rendered for the most part at 60 frames per second, taking full advantage of the Switch 2's hardware. There are some times when the engine can stumble, however, with minor animation bugs like getting tangled in ropes or having streamer mode that just mutes clips entirely rather than just the backing music. Take my introduction to the island for example, which was unskippable. So I sat there making awkward eye contact with Roman Reigns while Paul Heyman animatedly tried to explain something to me. Another odd bug seems that when the camera zooms in to highlight a special move or finisher, the game immediately drops to 30 frames per second, and it's a very jarring drop from 60 FPS. There seems to be no reason behind this, because it's not stutter. It's simply an instant drop, then resumes back to normal once the move is done. Now you can turn these highlight frequencies down or even off, but they kinda look pretty cool. Fingers crossed that this gets patched out post-release, and it's the only thing that I can really fault when it comes to the game's performance. We aim to push the game to its limits to try and land a submission, but even in full 8-player brawls and outside of these move highlights, the game doesn't skip a beat. At $110 Australian, WWE 2K25 has plenty to offer on the Switch. Its myriad and variation of game modes mean that you won't get bored after a match or two, and you can just switch things up at any time and just create the world that you want to create. For my superstars looking into accessibility options, there are a few tweaks you can make, like switching button mashing QuickTime events to a radial dial, adding subtitles, and changing things like auto reversal, rope breaks, and wait from simulation to arcade, allowing any moves on any character. As always though, I recommend further research to see if WWE 2K25 suits your needs. Questionable monetization aside, it's clear that 2K have honed its wrestling series down to an art form. Much like the real-world WWE, WWE 2K25 is big, brash, and bombastic, offering high-flying antics, cheesy storylines, and larger-than-life characters. Gameplay is technical and fun, giving players legitimate reasons to emulate the to and fro of real-life matches, while never really being frustrating or overpowering. Everything looks amazing and has great attention to detail, and the ability to play the game your way offers significant replay value. When it comes to wrestling video games, it's clear that WWE 2K25 wins the championship belt. So, what's it like? WWE 2K25 is like the real-world WWE, with some interesting career paths and even more interesting monetization. I award it an 80 out of 100. Thanks so much for watching my video. If you liked it, the best way you can support What's It Like is by liking, subscribing, and sharing it with your friends. For more reviews, click on the thumbnails to the right, and for everything Nintendo, check out whatsitlike.com.au.